Welcome to Wine Soundtrack USA. Listen to the passion with which producers narrate their winery and their world in 30 answers. Discover their stories, personalities, and passions.
Hello, friends and listeners of Wine Soundtrack. This is Alison Levine, and today I am sitting with Guillaume Large from Résonance in the Willamette Valley. You would think that I am talking to a French winemaker. I am saying it Résonance like it's French, but yes, I said Willamette Valley, meaning Oregon. So Guillaume, welcome and tell us about Résonance.
Thank you, Alison. Pleasure to chat with you. Résonance is indeed a French project because Maison Louis Jadot in Burgundy from the 19th century for the first time decided to make wine with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay outside of Burgundy. And we choose the Willamette Valley, almost the same latitude, a good feeling with the place. And this is how we started, so voilà.
So there's a connection between Burgundy, France. Louis Jadot is obviously a very, very well-known name. And then the Willamette Valley, you were saying in the same latitude. So I'm curious, do you only do Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, or did you branch out to some other grapes?
Yes, of course. We make only Pinot Noir and Chardonnay because this is what we know. In fact, we had a great opportunity because at the end of 2012, the head winemaker of Jadot, after 42 vintages, Jacques Lardière, was officially retired of Jadot. And so he was available to visit the valley with the goal to find a place. And if possible, a terroir, a unique place. And he visited a few vineyards and he found one, Résonance Vineyard. It was named Résonance Vineyard. Beautiful place, 20 acres, so about 8 hectares of Pinot Noir planted from 1981, and all of them are ungrafted, own-rooted, franc de pied, something we don't know anymore in Burgundy. And so, voilà, a unique place to start the project.
Wow. So you said 20 acres, it's all Pinot Noir?
It is all Pinot Noir, and very well planted from the 80s. 3 clonal selection, Pommard, Dijon, Wädenswil. Voilà. So that was the first step of the project. But at the same time, the potential to plant by yourself, because next, adjacent to this vineyard, there was a beautiful property, over 300 acres, not yet planted. So a nice playground for Jadot, to try to plant by yourself and then to build a winery and a tasting room. And this is when I moved from Burgundy to Oregon. So I worked for Jadot as a cellar master, maître de chai, and when it was time for us to plant, it was important to have somebody of the team staying on site, living on site, et voilà.
They made you an American. So you said, you have the 20 acres and then you've got the 300. What's your total planted acreage and what's the percentage of Chardonnay to Pinot?
Yes. So from 2013, of course, we grew up. In addition to this first place, so in Yarmil, Carlton, AVA, step by step we bought additional place, additional terroir, one in Dundee Hills, named Découverte Vineyard, and 2 years ago in Eola Amity Hills, Kusa Vineyard. So plus on this property that we started to plant. So today we own 140 planted acres, 100 acres of Pinot Noir, and 40 acres of Chardonnay. Wow. All of them are certified organic and dry farm. So.
Love it. And are your wines available across the United States in all markets, or in any international markets?
Yes, for both. So in fact, we started the project in Willamette Valley, Oregon, in link with the terroir, for sure. But at the same time, Louis Jadot, Maison Louis Jadot has a very strong link with Co-Brand Corporation, the historical importer of Jadot in the US from 1945. So very strong link with Co-Brand. And so when we started Résonance, when Jadot started Résonance, if you want, Co-Brand started to sell our wine in the national market, in the USA, being for us our national sales team. So perfect.
Yeah, pretty good for a new winery.
Exactly. But so this is where most part of the wine goes, in the USA, so almost all the states. And in addition to that, we use the export team of Jadot to promote Résonance and to develop Résonance in the export market. So today we sell in 35 countries in addition to the USA.
Wow. Do you sell in France?
A little bit, but
they have a market already?
It's not a scoop. That will be not the main export market for Résonance. In addition to that, a third way to sell the wine, and that was something we didn't know very well in Burgundy. This is a D2C, the direct to consumer, because in 2019 we opened a tasting room on the property at the top of the hill. We built local barn style, with reclaimed wood, 3 barns, and this is our place, this is our tasting room. A good way to speak about the project, to promote our wine and the brand and the story and the link with the environment on site, at home.
So Guillaume, I'm curious. You grew up in Burgundy, France, which is the heart of wine, one of the hearts of wine in France. What is your first memory relevant to wine? How old were you?
Oof, hard to tell you. I grew up in among the vineyards. My family, my parents didn't work and don't work in the wine industry, but my grandfather owned a vineyard, a small vineyard in Mâconnais, where I grew up, and that was always a link, when this is harvest time, you go with the family to pick the fruit. So I don't know, my first harvest, I was maybe 3 years old on the leg of my grandfather on the tractor, but it's more what I remember the most. I was probably same kind, 3-4 years old. My grandfather had a beautiful cellar, and when we were doing dinner, family dinner, he was always asking me to come with him to help to choose a bottle, on the rack. And for me that was a huge cellar. When I was older, I realized it was not so huge, but voilà, that was my first connection with the wine, in fact.
I love that. What was that first kind of aha moment you had with wine, or maybe it wasn't the first, but I'm sure you've had a lot of wonderful wines in your life and will proceed to have many more. But is there a wine that stands out as one of those aha moments?
Of course it's Burgundy, and it's probably a Chardonnay. I had always a pleasure to learn about the terroir of Burgundy, and I would say when I worked at Maison Jadot, I had the chance to be in charge of the library of Jadot, of the collection of the Maison Jadot from the 19th century.
Oh, wow.
And a few weeks before to leave Jadot and to move to Oregon for Résonance, we had to replace the cork of old
Did you sneak a little something?
Montrachet Grand Cru 1888, and I can tell you the wine was still alive and magic. Alors old expression, but this is something I keep in my mind because it was a unique experience and the wine was still alive. So 1888. Wow. That's an aha moment for sure. That's pretty special. Wow, 1888. And this is why it's
for still wine.
Right. And this is why I keep this wine in my really in my memory, because it's, you are so humble when you taste a wine like that. You imagine that more than maybe 3 or 4 winemakers before you did the same work to replace the cork to keep the wine alive. Wow, it's magic.
It's amazing. So if we were to come to your home in Oregon, in the Willamette Valley, and come into your cellar or however you store wine, your wine fridges or in the winery, what would we find? Are you exclusive to Pinot Noir and Chardonnay? Are you biased towards a particular region, or do you have wines from around the world?
For sure, living now in Oregon, that's open really my knowledge about the wine from the world, and not only from Burgundy.
Not that that's a bad region to drink wine from.
It's good to start by Burgundy, you know. But no, yes, we, of course, we are still learning about Oregon and Willamette Valley. So I have a lot of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay from the Willamette Valley. Because this is our place. Of course, Burgundy as well, because this is the link.
Your home.
Exactly, and Pinot Noir and Chardonnay are so magic. But I have a great passion for the Côte du Rhône as well, the Rhône Valley. It's interesting, but I would say more now. I have a lot of wine from New Zealand, you know, from Italy, from California, that I didn't have in France, in fact. So it's very interesting. Our cellar is really more open to a lot of wine region.
I love that. You're probably one of the most well-rounded Burgundian producers there are.
It's possible, you know. It's possible.
Exposed to the world of wine. So is there a particular wine from your cellar that you opened up recently that drank really well?
You will smile because it was a Pouilly Fuissé from the region where I was born, and my wife as well. Pouilly Fuissé from a small estate, but a guy who makes beautiful wine, Domaine Sommez Michelin in Vergisson, 2018. Very special wine for us and a beautiful expression, yes. So.
Yeah, it's that Chardonnay.
It is.
So, obviously, your focus is on two primary grapes, two very important noble grapes, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. But do you think there's a such thing as a perfect variety? Are either of those perfect varieties, or is there another one, or is there a such thing?
For us, if you want, we came in the Willamette Valley with the idea to use our knowledge, our experience in Burgundy with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and to try in Oregon, just to learn, you know, and to understand what are the typicity of the valley, and that works very well. It is different than Burgundy, the geology, the weather, you know, the influence of the ocean for sure. But there is a minerality that works very well with both grape variety. And for us, we think really that both Pinot and Chardonnay have found a place. And there is no doubt that the Willamette Valley is one of the great places for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in the world. Of course, there is Burgundy, but Burgundy is not overseeing everything, you know. From the beginning, we think really there is Burgundy, there is Willamette Valley on the same plan of quality. Mm-hmm. The big difference, the huge difference, this is the history, this is the past. Right. Willamette Valley is still a new wine region, so we have to be patient, you know. When you plant, it's not coming like that. It's a question of decades before to learn about a place, but it's really our goal to focus on these two grape varieties for now. Maybe in the future, we'll see. We don't know what can happen with the weather as well, so maybe one day we'll be happy to try another grape variety, but only what we know and the experience.
And so the perfection is really about the grape and the place being perfect together.
It is exactly that. The sense of place. In Burgundy, we call it the terroir, but this is key. Yep.
So, you obviously, Burgundian wines are the talk of the town by wine collectors and, you know, critics and things like that. And you work with a brand that is connected to a brand that gets a lot of reviews. And I'm sure Résonance has gotten a few reviews from time to time. And I'm curious overall what your opinion is on wine critics and scores and the role that they play.
But you know, it's important for sure. When I make the wine, I don't think about that. There is no link. I mean, we don't make a wine thinking about what could be the critics or the review. Mm-hmm. We tell the truth. The key, this is the vineyard. This is the work in the vineyard to produce fruits, speaking about the place, about each place. Mm-hmm. And in this way, Then you have wine that will realize the energy of each terroir. And when you show your wine to the journalists or the critics, well, I am very confident, I am very comfortable, and it's more a discussion like we are doing than really something very, I think it's important because they are our relay that helps to be more visible, to speak a little bit more about our production and the project, and we were lucky, but my goal is really to invite the reviewers, the journalists to come at Résonance to see the place, because that makes sense. There is a link, when you taste a wine and you think about the place, you understand a part of the expression. Voilà.
Well, speaking of the place, if space aliens were to land at your property right now, which of your wines would you want to say welcome to Résonance?
You mean if I have to offer one wine?
One wine.
That would be Résonance Vineyard, our Pinot Noir, the first vineyard bought in 2013, a unique place, a unique energy. There is almost a vibration that you taste with this wine. All Pinot planted at the beginning of the 80s, 20 acres, still ungrafted, without phylloxera. I have to touch wood very quickly, but
knock on the head, yeah.
But we are vigilant, and really there is a complexity through the wine, like aromatic complexity, but more than that, there is a unique minerality coming from this marine sedimentary soil. Almost you taste something coming from the ocean on the back of your palate.
Ooh, you're making me thirsty.
There is the notion, the word terroir makes totally sense with this wine.
I'm going to come to that in a second, but I'm curious, as a wine drinker, if you had to pick, or could you pick, red, white, or rosé?
Depends the time of the day, but I would say white.
White, yeah. Still or sparkling?
Still.
And it's a pretty easy thing. As a wine drinker, clearly you drink everything. I know there's a little preference to Chardonnay. I can get it from that 1888 and then the Pouilly-Fussé. But how do you approach food and wine pairing? Do you think there are rules to follow? Or do you... Chardonnay and Pinot Noir are known as such food-friendly wines. Is it just a no-brainer, white and red, and that's how you do it? Or do you look for certain rules that you follow or certain guidelines that you can recommend?
Well, it's interesting. It's always the question. We are lucky to work with both Pinot Noir and Chardonnay because it's probably among the grape variety that you can pair easily with a lot of different kind of food, and especially Pinot Noir. The Pinot we make are very expressive, very fruity, but in an elegant way.
And how many different Pinot Noirs do you make?
We make, in fact, not a lot. We have 3 different single vineyards and 1 blend of these single vineyards together. So when
you're pairing with food using something like that, what are you looking for that would help you determine which?
It will be more the link between the texture of the food and what the wine will bring. So the acidity, for me, is the guideline to pair. So something a little bit heavy, you balance with something that brings tension and freshness. The fruits, as they are expressive and very delicate, it's often easy, but for sure if it is fish, that will be not the same way that if it is a nice steak or something like that. But with only Pinot Noir made in only one way, same winemaking, with the few wines we make at Résonance, I can play a lot with different pairing and different selections. So.
And that Pinot Noir can go across many different dishes from fish to meat.
It's true, totally true. I am lucky because at home my wife is a great cooker, and so this is our deal. She cooks, I choose a bottle. Voilà. So I play on that.
Very, very easy. So for somebody who hasn't had the pleasure to taste your wines yet, what do you think they're missing out on?
They miss the connection with the Willamette Valley and a little bit the spirit of Jadot behind the wine. So again, why I would say Résonance is interesting for people who have not yet discovered. We express truly our terroir. So being organic, being certified organic, all the vineyards, the 140 acres we own, being dry farm from the day of plantation. The fruits speak about the place, you know, and you taste that through the wine. So this is really what could be the motivation for people who would like to discover the link with the place and something that speaks truly about the place, you know.
So if the wines speak truly to the place, and you know this place, and you've been there how many years now?
I moved in 2017, so 7 years. Yeah.
7 years. So we know that every vintage tells a different story, but I'm curious, what has been your observation over the last 7 years in the Willamette Valley? Do you see more commonality, or do you see more variation from year to year?
No, it is more variation. It is really, in this way, it's connected with Burgundy. You never know what can happen until your fruits are at the winery, you know. This morning we had 2 hours with a cold weather, close to 30 Fahrenheit. So I hope when I will come back at the winery, I will not see too much damage with the frost. But I worked with our vineyard manager. I was in the market here, so I was not on site, but we worked together. We planned something to try to protect, and they burned some wood to try to warm up a little bit the place, not everywhere, but some blocks. So, ouais, voilà. Donc, it's important.
Yeah. So if you're saying that you don't know until you have the fruit, are there any signs or predictors you can look for that are going to tell you what a vintage is, or is it really just day by day?
For sure, it's a daily work, and to be connected with the season. I mean, walking through the vineyard, you know, from now, April to September, October sometimes, you see really what's happening. You have, yes, some sign, you know, like start earlier, meaning early season. Could be the sign of a vintage a little bit early. So in general, rich with a certain concentration because it's often a warm season. If it is delayed, we know we'll pick later. So in October in Oregon, we can start to have cold days, you know, and nights. So keeping more acidity. Voilà. So we have some tool to help us, but
then you're not prepared for 35-degree weather for 2 hours.
No. But you know, in Burgundy, and this is exactly the same in Oregon, in the Willamette Valley, we say that the vintage is the truth about the place. And that makes sense because there is no recipe, there is nothing made, you know. So it's really the link between our humble work and Mother Nature that gives the direction, the guidance, you know. So voilà.
So that connection. What is your connection to the vines? When you walk through it, do you talk to the vines? Do you have communication with them? Or do you communicate when it's wine in the barrel, or both? I mean, what is sort of your... Or am I crazy? You don't talk to the vines at all?
No, I don't speak too much with them, but it's probably more spiritual, you know. No, but it's interesting because you see really the vines changing and growing up. So every season, you know, so they are not like your kid, but there is a link for sure when you plant them and you see them growing up, and some days, you know, when it is a little bit cooler, they don't grow up quickly, and then when the sun is here, they are happy, you know. So no, it's more to see the shape of the grapes, you know, a little bit what will be the style of the vintage coming. So there is a link, for sure there is a link, and it's really my favorite time of the year, you know, when you see them coming almost ready, and you have to choose the right date to pick them. The day that will bring more complexity into our future wine. So yeah.
So a little mental telepathy, like keep growing, you're doing well.
We'll take care of you. Voilà.
And then when it's in the barrels, do you talk to your wine or?
No, I don't talk with them, but it's a little bit the same. There is a life. The yeast, they're key. As all our vineyards are certified organic, I use native yeast.
Okay.
And I don't speak with them, but it's magic. The fact that we don't understand, maybe we understood what we have learned about that, and we know 10% of what they do. 90% it's still something that we cannot understand, we cannot control it. And they are so small, they are so alive at the same time that it's a part of the magic of the wine. So I don't speak with them, but during the it's a little bit crazy, but it's between us. I listen. During the fermentation, during the night, I played music. Not me personally, it's a speaker, but
still, see, you are communicating.
But the vibration of the sun, the resonance is important, especially for the activity of the yeast and their reproduction. So it's.
Do you have a whole playlist?
It's a well-known compositor because it's Mozart. All the complexity of the music of Mozart, I think I love it. That brings to me something like an energy, so I assume the yeast love that as well. Yeah.
Well, when we taste your wines, we'll know that for sure.
You will hear us.
So, when you were a little boy, did you always know you wanted to be a winemaker and work with wine, or what did you want to be when you grew up?
Not at all. I have a passion, in addition to the wine, my first passion was history. I opened my first history book. I was 5 years old. That was about Napoleon. And I continue to read a lot about history, especially French history, but that was my first goal, to have a work in link with my passion. But when I was at the end of the high school, I had a teacher who told me, don't do that. Don't choose this way. Keep it as a passion, but do another thing. And finally, by different way, I came to the wine industry. But no, it was really not a goal. It was not really a dream to do that.
And when you're not working, how do you spend your free time? Are you still reading history?
Yeah, a lot. It's important for me to find the time to do that, and enjoying the Willamette Valley with my family as well. It's beautiful. We can hike, we can ski, we can go to the coast. We love traveling too. So we are pretty busy.
So when you get to slow down a little bit and plan a romantic evening for you and your wife, I know you said she cooks and you pick the wine. I'm curious, what wines make for a romantic evening, not just an average evening?
You will tell me that I say always the same thing, but
if we say.
No, sometimes we can go to a Grand Cru of Burgundy. A Carlton Charlemagne, for example, brings always something magic, Et puis Pinot Noir, but often, wanted to discover something. My wife told me, give me something that will surprise me, Alors I can go to Syrah of Rhone Valley, I can go to a beautiful Barolo from Italy, nice other varieties from the world.
So just exploring the world of wine makes for a special evening.
Especially evening, indeed, and often a great surprise. Often very interesting experience. We are not often disappointed. It's true that we try to select to buy bottle that
you won't be disappointed.
Exactly. But when you don't know.
you take a little risk, but it's a mitigated risk. You expect it to be at a certain level.
Disons que I try to control the surprise. Voilà.
So when you look back at your life, is there a piece of advice somebody gave you along the way that you tried to live or work by? Was it a teacher, a mentor, a parent? Is there something that you carry with you as sound advice that you can share?
No, it's true. But my mentor, is Jacques Lardière, the former winemaker of Jadot. I learned a lot from him and with him. And what I will keep from him, this is that even if you have difficulties, even if you have challenge, that happen often, especially with the wine, you never know what can happen. I told you, the vintage, it could be very challenging. But always turning things into a positive way. And I think it's a good model for the life as well. You can have challenge, okay, but try to find a way to be successful and to keep a positive result. This is great.
Turn lemons into lemonade, or look at the glass half full, or always look on the bright side.
Ouais, don't blend Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, but no, it's exactly that. Try to do your best always, and you will be successful. You have to believe about yourself, about your energy, and I think this is a part of our culture, a part of the human that we have to always we say surmonter en français, to reach a certain level of quality because we are boosted, we are not comfortable, so we find a way to succeed,
So when you look back at your career, what would you say is one of your proudest achievements so far?
If I met you in Burgundy in 2016, I will tell you my life will be in Burgundy and I will never leave Burgundy. And in 2017, when we decided, because it's for sure that was a great opportunity for myself, for my link with the work, but for my family as well. So it's a decision that we took with my wife and thinking about our son too. When we decided to come here, that was really a big adventure for us, and we didn't know where we were going. We had no relationship, it was really like a new life. Bon, of course, control, because we kept the link with friends, with our family for sure, but with Jadot as well for the support, and voilà. But quand même, what an adventure, and 7 years after to feel like at home in Oregon, in the Willamette Valley, it's for us, it's really a great achievement. Yeah, so
it is. You've really adapted, and now you'll never leave the Willamette Valley.
Alors ça, I don't say anymore never, but
never say never.
No, exactly. It's totally true. But it's true that especially for us, moving from Burgundy, where we have kind of a quality of life that is amazing, probably the Willamette Valley is one of the great places in the USA to have a transition between French lifestyle and the life in the USA. Yes, so we are lucky.
So complete this sentence for me. A table without wine is like?
Sad. It's like not synonym of great moments.
So another question for you. This is where I get to have a little fun with you, but we're sitting at a table. We're enjoying some Résonance wines that you had your hand in, and there's an empty seat next to you. Who from any walk of life, living or deceased, would you want to share a bottle of Résonance with?
With my grandfather, who unfortunately left us just a few months before we moved. And I think often about him. I will say, Papi, I will be happy to share this bottle with you. So that will be for him, for sure.
Yeah, the man who took you into a cellar at 3 years old.
Without him, for sure. for sure, I will be not connected with the wine. It's true. It's totally true.
So you mentioned something earlier. You're working with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and you said, well, but maybe with climate change, we would work with something else in the Willamette Valley. Where do you think we're going to be in 200 or 300 years? Do you think we're still going to be making wine and drinking wine? Do you think it will end at some point?
In link with what I told you, no, we will continue to drink wine. It's a part of our history. I read a lot about that too, and it's not new. I mean, the earth has always been like that, warming up, cooling down, and population has always find a way to adapt themselves.
Yeah.
And the vines and the wine followed people. The first wine made, we don't know. it's also no. Yes, probably that will be challenging for the people who will have to find a way to continue to produce. But we'll adapt ourselves. I think about what happened, especially in Burgundy, but in Europe at this time there was no other vineyard in the world, but in the whole world, when they had to fight all the pressure of disease, the phylloxera, the pyrale, all this challenging time on the second half of the 19th century. Mm-hmm. They had to keep their motivation and imagine the work when they had to remove all the vines in Europe at the time of the phylloxera crisis.
The rootstock.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and today we have vines everywhere. I mean, we will find a good way. We have still a lot of options, before to change a business. Yeah. I think especially something that can be very quickly done. Today we don't plant on the northern side, because it's too cold, because it's a little bit too long to be ripe.
But
with just a few additional days of warm temperatures per year, that can become a natural way without any pressure, Voilà. So and this is probably the immediate option, but we'll find this is our life. We have to think about the future and to figure out. So, and we will, I'm sure.
So if you were sent to a deserted island, because, we didn't figure out a way, what 3 wines would you want to take with you?
What do you, a grape variety or a name of
I don't know. The easy way out is a grape variety. The better way out is if you can be more specific.
Alors I will bring, of course, the first will be a bottle of Chardonnay, and it will be a bottle of Pouilly Fuissé, no doubt, probably from Domaine Ferré, okay. Because it's a magic estate in Fuissé. That Maison Jadot bought in 2007, but the first estate that make a selection in link with the terroir when Pouilly didn't have any Premier Cru or Grand Cru. So always a magic moment. Then I will bring a bottle of Pinot Noir, and that will be from Résonance, for sure, Résonance Vineyard Pinot Noir. Et puis probably quand même to celebrate something, maybe the last bottle, a bottle of champagne. I love champagne as well, and my favorite is it's not the champagne we drink every day, but a bottle of Comte de Champagne from Tétinger will be a special moment. If I have to finish with one bottle, probably that will be.
You're very good in your family. You stay within the Co-Brand family.
You know that. But in fact, it's true. Uh-huh. But before to work for Jadot, I had already a great interest for the Comte de Champagne of Tétinger, because I always loved them. And it's true that being in the same family, I have access a little bit more easily to these wines. But it's true.
Well, Guillaume, you've been amazing, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, we play a little game. Before we got started, I mentioned we play a little game of wine and music, because it's called Wine Soundtrack. And, You've talked a lot about how the terroir expresses itself through the wine. Wine is an expression, and it says something to us. So I'm wondering if you compare some of your wines, I'll tell you which ones, with music as an expression. You obviously play Mozart, and you described how that music, and you think it agitates the thing. So let's start with, let's look at your different Pinot Noirs. So your blend, the blend of the three vineyards.
Donc, Résonance Vineyard, it will be Mozart, for sure. It will be the complexity, it will be the...
You're going to break it down for me for each vineyard. Okay, let's go. Resonance
because
Mozart.
It's in link with the wine, as we do single vineyard.
Okay.
Résonance Vineyard, this is Mozart.
Okay.
A level of complexity that is...
And that's in the Embody Hills, right?
It is Yarmil Carlton. Yarmil Carlton AVA, yes.
Okay.
Découverte Vineyard, that is a little bit more elegant. There is this energy coming from the volcanic soil. I think about Vivaldi, like the Four Seasons, very dynamic, and puis the new terroir that I don't know yet very well, but that is magic. Kusa Vineyard in Eola Amity Hills. That will be Beethoven because
Well, you're putting it all together for me very well, because if you're taking, it's all classical music, and you're going from Mozart with this kind of elegant and sound, and Vivaldi with this electric sort of brightness, and then you've got your last one was
Kusa. Kusa Vineyard in Eola Amity.
Paired with
Beethoven.
So now you've got this richness that goes with it. So now when we have your blend, what's the music for the blend?
Ooh. Who can be... I will try a French, probably Bizet. Georges Bizet with Carmen, that will be something magic.
Et voilà.
Exactement.
Super. Well, see, there you go. 3 Pinot Noirs, and you found one for the blend. I love that. So a little Mozart, a little Vivaldi, a little Beethoven, and then Bizet.
I don't know if a music specialist hear that, he will say he's totally crazy, but I love opera, and there is really an energy that comes from the music of these great compositors. So that opens something to my mind.
Resonates with you,
I think. Exactement.
Well, Guillaume, it has been a pleasure talking to you today, and I have one final question for you. The first part of it is, what wine region in the world is at the top of your list that you want to explore?
Probably currently Argentina. Because I don't know at all, and I tasted some great wine with this region, with this part of the world, Argentina and Chile probably. That give really something like an attraction, I would like really to learn more about the place. Yeah.
Great. And for somebody who wants to learn more about Résonance and taste the wines, how can they find you? Where can they find you? What can they experience?
So always I would recommend, if they can, of course it's a long trip, but to visit the place. We have a beautiful property in link with what we do, the organic approach, and we have a tasting room that is open daily from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, from Monday to Sunday. That is the best way to learn about the place and what we do and tasting the wine. Of course, you can visit our website, resonancewines.com, because it's very well done with some dynamic aerial view. You learn about the vineyard, you learn about the wine, you learn about the link between Jadot and Résonance. And if you live in the USA and you cannot travel, you have no internet access, you can always find our wine in different places, retailer and restaurant in link with co-brand, because co-brand is very dynamic, as a rep in almost all the states of the US. So a good way to be a relay. You know, so.
And you are located how far from Portland?
So we are about 1 hour south of Portland, on the west of a small city named Carlton, a little Greek town. This is what is on the sign when you arrive in Carlton. So 1 hour by the road, it's super easy, and you can almost come for one day, returning to Portland. And we are at the foot of the coastal range mountain, so it's really a magic view. Yep. So,
well, it's worth heading out to the Willamette Valley, a little short jaunt out from Portland, and an hour down, and you're at Résonance, and go experience the terroir for yourself. So, Guillaume, thank you for joining us, and let's go drink some wine.
Hey, santé, Alice, and thank you.
Merci. Merci.
Thanks for listening to a new episode of Wine Soundtrack USA. For details and updates, visit our website, winesoundtrack.com.